Have you ever noticed that your cat seems to have a lot to say to you, but barely makes a sound around other cats? They'll stare you down, open their mouth, and deliver a perfectly timed meow, as if they're making a point. Yet when cats interact with each other, it's mostly silent. No long conversations, no dramatic announcements. That contrast isn't a coincidence. Cats didn't just randomly decide to talk to humans. Their meows are the result of history, evolution, and a surprisingly clever understanding of how people work. And today, we will discover all that right here on History of Simple Things. Before we dive into why cats meow at humans today, it helps to understand how this behavior began. Cats weren't domesticated the same way dogs were. Around 9,000 to 10,000 years ago, early agricultural societies in the Middle East began storing grain, which attracted rodents. Wildcats followed the rodents, and humans tolerated and eventually welcomed them. Unlike dogs, cats weren't bred to obey commands or perform tasks. They largely domesticated themselves by sticking around humans who offered food and safety. Over generations, cats that were less fearful and more tolerant of humans thrived. Subtle behavioral traits, including vocalization toward people, became more common. Humans responded better to cats that communicated clearly, even if that communication was just a sound that grabbed attention. Slowly, cats learned that humans were worth talking to, while other cats already understood the unspoken rules of feline communication. Cats are not very vocal with other cats, especially as adults. Kittens meow frequently to their mothers to signal hunger, cold, or distress. But once they grow up, most of that vocal behavior fades away. Adult cats rely more on body language, scent marking, tail position, ear movement, and subtle facial expressions. Hissing, growling, and yowling do happen between cats, but these are usually signs of fear, aggression, or territorial disputes. Friendly interactions are often quiet. A slow blink, a relaxed posture, or rubbing against another cat says far more than a meow ever could. To cats, vocalizing unnecessarily would be inefficient and potentially risky, especially in the wild where sound can attract predators. Humans, however, don't speak cat. Meowing is essentially a cat's way of bridging the communication gap between species. Humans don't naturally understand feline body language, scent signals, or subtle postures. Cats that relied only on those signals were often ignored. But cats that vocalized, they got attention. Over time, cats learned that humans respond quickly to sound. A meow can wake someone up, interrupt what they're doing, or trigger food, petting, or door opening. From a cat's perspective, that's incredibly effective. Studies show that domestic cats meow far more frequently than feral cats. Feral cats, which live with minimal human interaction, rarely meow as adults. This suggests that meowing isn't just instinct. It's a learned behavior reinforced by human response. One of the most fascinating discoveries about cat behavior is that cats don't use one universal meow. Many cats develop specific vocalizations for specific humans. Your cat may have one meow for food, another for attention, and a completely different sound when they're annoyed. Research has shown that cats can adjust pitch, length, and tone depending on what gets results. Some cats even use higher-pitched meows that resemble a human baby's cry. Humans are biologically wired to respond to those sounds, often without realizing it. Cats that figured this out gained a powerful communication tool. In other words, your cat may have trained you just as much as you trained them. Cats don't meow at other cats because they don't need to. Other cats already understand the silent language of tails, ears, posture, and scent. A raised tail can signal friendliness. Flattened ears can mean fear or aggression. Scent markers convey identity, mood, and territory. Meowing between cats would be redundant and possibly confusing. In feline social structures, silence is often a sign of comfort. A cat that feels safe doesn't need to announce itself constantly. When cats do vocalize at each other, it's usually a warning, not a conversation. Living indoors has amplified meowing behavior. Indoor cats rely almost entirely on humans for food, stimulation, and access to the outside world. They can't hunt freely or roam large territories, so vocal communication becomes their primary tool for influencing their environment. Outdoor and feral cats still interact with humans occasionally, but they're less vocal overall. The more a cat depends on people, the more likely it is to talk to them. This is why some cats are famously chatty while others are almost silent. It depends on personality, upbringing, and how humans respond. Not all cats meow the same amount. Some breeds are naturally more vocal. Siamese cats, for example, are well known for their loud, expressive meows. This trait likely became more pronounced through selective breeding, as humans favored cats that were interactive and communicative. Other breeds, like British Shorthairs or Russian Blues, tend to be quieter. But even within breeds, individual personality matters. A cat raised in a highly interactive household is more likely to vocalize than one raised in a quieter environment. So the next time your cat looks you in the eye and lets out a perfectly timed meow, remember, you're hearing a behavior shaped by thousands of years of coexistence. Cats may not talk to each other the way they talk to us, but they've mastered the art of getting humans to listen. And judging by how often we respond, it's safe to say they've succeeded. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.